Hey guys, Sean Bougie, surplusfundsriches.net. Welcome to the live question and answer video. All questions are welcome. And I'm going to go ahead and see. Anthony says, good evening, Sean. Hope you had a great Christmas with family and friends over the holiday. Thank you very much. And Tina Farber says, hello from Florida. That's great. Guys, I will address all your questions as they come in. You can use the comment section. Jeff, can you hear me and see me okay? All right, I'm going to hang up. All right, bye. Jeff's the moderator. He's also my business partner, and he writes about 99.99% of the books. He does most of the work. He handles all the front line, the support, writing the majority of the books, the support, and underwriting the files as they come in. So the stuff that most directly impacts you guys is Jeff. I handle the back end more so with the supervision of the crew, the attorneys, paying claimants, that type of thing. So it's a different animal for us. Basically, I manage the physical businesses. He's handling the assets as far as stuff coming in. Rochelle, Marlener, hello from Pittsburgh. Rochelle, happy holidays. Kirk Shope, hello. Cheryl Williams, hi guys, looks to sound good, great. Deb says hi from North Carolina, hello. Believer, hi Sean. Good to see you. Good to see you too. SFR support, last chance to reserve your spot. Yeah, guys, before we go in, before we go into anything else, last chance to reserve your spot. And reserving your spot's a big deal. This is for the new sale, January the 1st. If you haven't already, you can go to the site, surplusfundsriches.net. You can either use a / like Jeff did in his comment with the / NYS26. Go right to the products page or go to the main page. There'll be a big logo, blue logo. You can click on that, tax surplus strike force, take you to the products page. There are downloads there for the pricing that'll be there January the 1st, blowout pricing, insane bundles, and a great deal on the launch. And then there's also an overview of all the programs called the Insider's Guide if you're wondering what you should get. Good evening from Aiken, South Carolina. That's One Green Production. Ellis here. Hey, Ellis here. Looking good. David Bender, how much easier is the new program to use than current programs? Good. We're going to get right into it, David, aren't we? I'll tell you what, before I get into the rest of these questions, I see the underwriting question. Hi, Ellen says hi. That's great. How do we make our money back in the first month? I see all this stuff. I'm going to come back to that. I'm going to cover the main questions I've gotten in emails and pre-purchase calls. I'm available 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern time, Monday through Friday for pre-purchase calls at 704. This is on the website too, guys, surplusfundsriches.net. 704-791-9398. That's my direct cell. I'm going to answer the questions that I'm getting a lot of people asking, right? So is it easier than panning? Yeah, it is. And I'll tell you why. In panning, we're going after mortgage overages. Panning's not hard, but in panning, you do run into more often where the mortgage companies, when they go to foreclose on the properties, you run into with the panning program that they will use arbitrary numbers more so than they do in the tax arena. So I think that's a little easier. Not a huge difference, but yeah, it's easier. I also think that researching the debt is going to be faster and easier because this is tax surplus, and typically there is not additional debt against the property in a tax foreclosure, simply because had there been, it probably would have foreclosed before the tax guys did. I mean, it's really pretty simple. How many states? Right now, 27. Guys, that can fluctuate. Right now, that's what we're looking at, but it's over half the states have tax deed sales, and we're happy to work with you on them. And remember, guys, you don't have to work your local area. So it's silly to ask me, hey, are you going to be working this state or that state? You're going to be working, at least out of the gate, 27 states, and it's all from home online, so it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter if it's your local area. A lot of people fall into that trap. When will it be offered again if we miss the sale on January the 1st? Probably in February, if not in March. And for how much? Maybe as little as $497, another $100, probably higher than that. I know that with panning, we launched it at, I believe, $397 and jacked it up to $997. What does the researcher partner do? Your job is to curate or research a list of surplus funds. We teach you how to do that. And then research the debt against the property like we do with all the other programs, turn it into us, and we take it from there. Have we tested it? Absolutely, we have. One of our top guys did it, and he's been paid multiple times this past year. It definitely works. He was working multiple programs. Um, Tracking turn-ins. So those of you guys that have been with us know that we have a working files list that you have access to on the resources page that's linked from your ebook. What that allows you to do is before you research any debt against a property, you can take the names from the list you have and check them. Just do a control F, do a find on our list that we update Monday through Friday to make sure we don't already have it. That way, we don't waste any time. And that also imparts quite a bit of transparency to the program. You know who's working what. If we don't buy, this is the big one. If we don't buy, are we going to be at a disadvantage? Yeah, in some states you are. In some states where you can't even get a list, obviously this program is going to be an in where we could never get in before. Simple. However, it's also going to give us the ability, or you guys and us as partners, give us the ability to get in the door first in those areas where the states have a delay in creating a list. So, yes, there'll be a slight disadvantage if you don't buy it. Now, is national surplus funds going to go away after this? No. There's plenty of states that create lists quickly that you can still work with the national surplus funds program. Me personally, I think you need to add this to your toolbox. Looking good, sounding good. How much easier is this to use in the current? Fairly easy. I mean, you are going to research your own list, so that's a different step, but it's not hard to do. Hey, Sean, please explain how we can make our money back in the first month. I'm not clear on that. Okay, so the way that we do it is we offer a commission advance. The first one you can ask for is up to $597. After that, it's $500. When we get one under contract, send out a mobile notary, get everything signed, it gets sent back via FedEx, it's in our hands, and we have had the attorney check it. Then we will let you know, hey, we have this under contract. If you want, you can take in advance, anywhere from 500 to $597. That's a big deal because yes, you could technically get your money back. Now, look, are you going to get that if you turn one in? I mean, statistically, it's not in your favor, right? So you've got to be working the program. But we actually this year, and I tell people 3 months is typical to get paid out, 3, 4 sometimes, sometimes longer, sometimes less. We had one this year that paid out. I kid you not, 2 weeks after we got it in the attorney's hands. Now, that happened to be an attorney that was in a very good old boy network area that was able to make the claim extremely quick and kind of push the clerk to issue the check. But it does happen. Hi, Sean. What does underwriting the file mean, R. Harris? That means that's Jeff, my business partner. When you turn in a file to us, you're turning in a title worksheet to us. He checks it to make sure you have all the required information in there, and that's the underwriting of the files. Hello from St. Louis. Hey, David. Crypto for Profit says hello from Texas. Hey, Denny says Denny from Winchmont. That's fantastic. Happy New Year, Super Craig. Melanie says hello, everyone. Hello, Sean. Albert Small. Hello, everyone from Michigan. That's great. Danny, Colorado Springs. Fred from Corpus Christi. Todd from Ohio. Glad to see you survive Christmas. Just excel. Thank you. Hello, Randy from Miami. Hey there from Vegas. Hello, Merry Christmas. Hi from Texas. Can you please explain the biggest difference for newbies about the new tax surplus strike force than your other mortgage surplus program? So, first of all, the National Surplus Funds Program works both mortgage and tax overages, where you get a list. There's a list available online. You can either purchase it, you can get it online. It's easy to get lists online, guys. Panning for hidden surplus is going after mortgage overages in states that are non-judicial, which means the courts don't handle the surplus funds distribution. The attorneys that had the foreclosure do, and as a result, you cannot get a list. So you have to create your own. This is similar in that it's a tax surplus situation where you're able to form your own list research your own list prior to anybody else, either the county is giving out the list or other people figuring it out. Okay. Because you're the first in line. So that's the big deal. And that always, like panning, that always means a higher conversion and more opportunity. And hey, it's going to work in states where you can't get a list at all and nobody else is going to be working those. That's kind of a big deal. Deblin, hi Sean and everyone. Hey Sean, for the payout for the tax strike force, is the same payout as panning, or does it depend on the state we work? It's across the board on all the states. It's about 27 states right now is where we're at with the list. It's 35% of the net. That's outstanding, guys, especially for it's really easy to research this. Approximately how many files we turn in actually end up paying out. Spartan, so we really don't get in. I actually put a full video together it's on this site on our channel, our YouTube channel about that, talking about the different variables to look for. And we really don't get into it because let me make it really simple. So, biggest file I ever paid out on was a lady named Kelly C. If you go to our site, surplusfundsriches.net, and click on testimonials, you'll see her testimonial. She made over 30 grand on a single file. She turned in one file to us and it worked out. Super fluke, don't expect that. Okay. We had guys turn in 5 and get paid out on 3. I've had guys turn in 20 and get nothing. Okay. It's statistics over a wide range. You really should be keeping your pipeline full, but there's way too many variables to give you a set amount. And like I said, I've seen it one turn in and bang, 5 and 3, and I've seen 20 and nothing. So keep your pipeline full. Hi from California, says Luana. Commission for the tax SERP, yep, will be 35% of that. Jeff's reiterating that. Hey, Sean, happy holidays from Atlanta. That's a nurse. Hello from Texas. Does this work for Texas residents due to strict Texas laws? Awesome question. All right, so guys, in the back end, now this is a partnership only program, okay? We're not teaching you how to do it on your own with this program. However, if you're one of the first 35, you're going to have your pick. You're going to get a voucher inside the ebook. So show up at 10 a.m. Eastern time on the dot, okay? Because you get a freebie. You'll see on, if you go to surplusfundsriches.net, go to the products page or click on that icon at the top, you'll see there are 5 programs you can choose from that are free add-ons for the first 35 people that buy. That's a big deal. One of them is the Surplus Funds DIY. If you would like to do this in the future, buy. I mean, granted, look, the best deal is the most expensive bundle you can afford because you get the best deal per program, right? So there's no way to get around that. The higher bundle you get, the better off you are. However, with the tax surplus strike force, if that's all you can afford, the $397, you get a built-in add-on, and with that, there's a voucher inside your ebook if you're the first 35 that buy. Show up at 10 a.m. Eastern, guys, and you show up the same page. It's the products page, where you link to sign up and reserve your spot. That's the same page. It'll flip at 10 a.m. Eastern time, and you'll be able to buy it. Okay. You'll be able to get a free add-on if you're in the first 35. Get the DIY because that teaches you the back end. I bring that up. Actually, I'm bringing it back around. I promise you, because the finder laws and regulations do not apply to us. We use a structured buyout agreement. In other words, we give a certain amount. Typically, it's 10% of the gross amount being held by the court or department to the claimant within 10 business days, 2 weeks after they sign our documents, and then the rest of whatever we agree to on the back end. As you can imagine, that really helps us in conversions. We're extremely competitive with that. But what that also does is it makes us, we're participants now in the retrieval because we have money in and we're taking responsibility. We always use attorneys. We're taking responsibility for the attorney cost. So we don't fall under the finder laws. Now, that DIY program teaches you different methods: the assignment method, the straight up finder method, contingency, and also the structured buyout. So you certainly don't have to do it our way, but our way gets around those laws. And that is a very big deal. Sassy says, gotcha. I have a question about the Surplus Creditor Partnership 50, which is one of the bonus add-on programs. Are we required to contact the creditor in order to partner on this one? Thanks. I think you are, but maybe Jeff will tell me I'm different. It's been a little bit for me on that. Notice the list of working deals had its access button grayed out. Is this just because the purge is ongoing? No, I don't know why that would have been. It's been up and running fine. Super Craig, please say more about the "we get in quicker" tax surplus comment. I don't understand. Okay, so Craig, there's usually a delay for the counties to post lists of surplus funds. Because you guys have the ability to look at it in the process, you're going to be able to tell what the surplus funds are the day of sale. You don't have to wait 2 weeks. So you'll be able to put a file together at that point. Okay. It'll also work in counties where they will not give you a list at all because it's going to teach you how to figure that out also. Kind of a big deal. Shaban says happy holidays. That's great. Sassy, what's the average turnover time? About 3 to 4 months. David, do you recommend that we work both this and national surplus at the same time? David, I would. Now, again, I'm going to bring it up. Certain areas, people are going, if you don't buy this program, people are going to have a time advantage. They'll be able to turn it in quicker. And of course, the first person to turn it in gets credit for that file. But not all of them are gonna have that difference. Not all states. But yeah, I would definitely get it if you can. But yeah, I'd work both at the same time. Work lists that are in existence and areas where you're going to be researching your own list. Is it an advantage to work on the panning, surplus creditor, and tax strife works? If yes, why? I would say, Devlin, the surplus creditor 50/50, the partnership program, I would leave that for later just because that's working with creditors when they're entitled to the surplus. And particularly in the tax arena, you don't typically run into a lot of those. So there's more opportunity in panning has still been kicking tail. The panning system and the tax surplus, rather tax surplus strike force, both of those are going to be really, really powerful if you can get a bundle with both. Um, I think I answered your question. I know you said why, and I think I told you why. Gary, looking forward to the new program, Sean. 11 files accepted. Looking to add to my pipeline. That's fantastic. That's a great start. Happy holidays. Sassy, yeah, we don't get in. Dr. Brad. Hey, Brad. Dr. Brad, good to see you. It's been a little bit. Crypto. What are the differences between tax surplus strike force versus panning for hidden surplus funds versus national surplus funds, and what are the percentages for each? Okay. National surplus funds, tax and mortgage overages where you can get a list. Okay. Pays 27% of net. All right. Panning for hidden surplus funds, you're creating your own list on mortgage overages in those states where you cannot get a list. Okay. They're non judicial, so you can't get a list. We teach you how to make your own. Mortgage overages only. That's panning, pays 40% of net. National surplus, wait a minute. Tax surplus strike force, tax deed sales, tax foreclosures, tax overages, and that's in that. Howdy from Texas. Look forward to hear from more about this opportunity. Questions other folks have. Great, Bobby from Fontana. Hey, to clarify, Sean, Strike Force will be offered for purchase on its own after January 1st, probably in. To clarify, Shaban, probably in February, and not exclusively in the Platinum Bundle. Probably not in the Platinum Bundle, but it will be more expensive, of course, if you don't buy January 1st. Sayek, is Florida Remote the current easiest program to work? I mean, it's fairly easy to work. I would say this new program is just as easy. Florida is a separate program for us, okay? It's separate from any of the other systems we have. And the reason is they have different statutes than anyone else, and it's so dramatically different. We created our own program with that. You'll find that SIAC in a couple of different bundles we're offering at the sale. Sassy says lists aren't the problem. That's the easy part. It's finding someone who can close the deal. And that's us, Sassy. We think. Listen, just so you guys know how this works, you turned into us. We're going to use call it a people finder system, skips racing system, whatever you want. We use multiple systems, Microbuilt, TLO, IDI data, even White Pages Premium. To do the best we can to find them. We also use different areas, or rather addresses, as information to put in as a possible match. Not only the address, the foreclosure address, but also if the tax assessor's office gave a different address, then we're going to use that one to see if we can get a hit. Same thing with if the deed that was recorded gave a different mailing address for the buyer, for the buyer at the time, okay, the claimant. So we're hitting them really hard with that, and we're sending mailings not only to the possible claimant, but also the possible relatives and associates, calls and mailings. That's a big deal. Then we get a hold of them. We will work them even if it's heirs. If we have to go through heirs, we would. I'm really proud of my case managers. One of them recently got 5 different heirs to all sign up with us just on one file. Guys, that's like herding cats. That's kind of a big deal. That takes a lot of knowledge, expertise, and just people skills. And my guys have it. So that's a big deal. We send out a mobile notary to get it signed. Speed counts in this business. We send out a mobile notary. And when we send out the mobile notary, we also send or email them a FedEx label so they can FedEx it back to us. And within 10 business days, we're sending them typically 10% of the gross amount held by the court as good faith money. Uh, the reason we have 10 business days is we have our attorney double check. No claims have been made. The money's actually there. No additional liens that we could not search online, like to IRS liens, that type of thing. So yes, good point. Um, Guys who don't have panning, get the New Year's surplus bundle. There's only 7 available. Yeah, that's kind of a big deal. I brought it up that basically, look, I never tell people to spend more money than they have or they're comfortable with, right? If it's going to take money off your table, don't do it. Don't buy anything. But if you can afford it, the New Year's surplus bundle, there's only going to be 7 of them. That is a stupid good bundle. And all you got to do is go to surplusfundsriches.net. Click on that icon, the blue icon on the top, okay? Or you can put the / NYS26 if you want. But go to that, and there's downloads in the middle. Click on the pricing guide. It'll tell you exactly what's going to be there January 1st. I think you're going to be blown away by the bundle deals. Those are also off the chain. That's something I argue with Jeff about every year. I think he gives them away a little too cheap. Seriously. Um, Randall, with this new system, can you do companies? I don't think we're going to be working companies on this, but I got to tell you something. As far as tax foreclosures, tax overages, you just don't run into that as much. Companies typically do not lose properties. It happens, but they typically don't lose properties over taxes, at least not as much as mortgages, where you find mortgage overages. Sorry, I'm dealing with a puppy here. How do you explain turning in files and not getting paid? Oh, that's great. I did a Ilberichifi. So people die and they don't leave heirs. People die alone all the time. Uh, People die and we can't find the heirs, even with the best skip tracing on the planet. People leave the country. We're seeing more and more of that frequently right now, particularly right now. People leave the country, cannot find people in other countries, even if we're calling local family. If somebody's left the country, other people aren't going to give us their contact information, although we've put quite a bit together in South America. Things happen. People get in the wind. People won't return your calls. Somebody called them a day quicker than us, right? I mean, guys, it's a business. Of course, not everybody. We can't find everybody and everybody say yes. Enrique, hello, Sean. Enrique again, good afternoon. Kay Davis, I have all the Florida programs. Can I still go after them? Yeah, Florida still. Guys, we did not sunset any of the surplus funds programs. Okay, we're not getting rid of them. I know somebody told us recently another trainer was sunsetting one of their surplus funds programs. We're not doing that. Sean, since I have all of the programs, okay, if I am one of the first 35, can I use the voucher for a complimentary feature program? No. So if you're buying just Shaban, if you're buying just the program, that's good for one of those 5 options as an add-on, and it's good for a month. We're giving people a month to make their mind up in case they're not sure which add-on they want to get if they're one of the first 35. Christina Lara, for the surplus 50/50, how can the average be 8,900? Same commission on 50K or 300K? It's an average, Christina, and it's 50% of net. So I don't know what to tell you about that. I don't know where you came up with that number. It may be an older video, but it's average. No, we don't pay the same on 50K or 300. If we start working full time, how long do you think it will take to get our first check from a file we turn in? I know you can't predict exact time frame, but what is ballpark time frame? If we're going to put a deal under contract when you turn it in, it's typically under contract in a month, and it typically closes out in a total of, from the time you turned it in, 3 to 4 months. Sassy, and by percentage of net, you mean the amount that's left over after the claimant is paid? Yes. Attorney costs? Yes. And any other costs? Yes. So a 20K surplus, I don't think we're going to be taking 20. I think 25 is the minimum. With a 3K, it would be 35% of the 17. Okay, so I think the minimum we take is 25 grand. It's very rare that we go that low. Our average is 50 grand right now. So I'm going to give you the average, Sassy. The average is 50 grand. On this program, 35% of that, I've worked it out before, should be right around 6 grand. That's because we're going to be paying the claimant, depending on the deal we put together, 25 to, well, on 50 grand, yeah, 25 grand, somewhere between 25 and 30 grand. And the attorneys are going to run us anywhere from 2 to 5 grand, depending on what we have to do. So the average is going to be around 6 grand because the average deal is around 50. With surplus creditor partnership 50, you contact the creditors. Yeah, Jeff made sure I'm on it. Boy, I must be really behind. Kimberly, do we get a certain state or do we pick which state we want to work? You can pick whatever state you want. It's wide open to everybody. It's 27 states. Guys, that's probably 2,500 to 2,700 counties. There's plenty in there for everybody. And a lot of these counties are having the sales every month. So there's plenty of opportunity. Reserve your spot here. That's Jeff put that on there again, surplusfundsriches.net/NYS26. Guys, you need to do that, especially if you're at this point of the game, you're already thinking, okay, this is something I want to do. Make sure you do that right away. Devlin, thanks for clarifying, Sean. You got it. Anthony Thomas, hey, Sean, have you had anyone turn in surplus creditor 50? I'm asking for a friend, LOL. Yes, we have. Devlin, Sean, you are having delays issues, spinning. Okay. That's going to happen. Can't hear. Your volume keeps going in and out. Let me get closer to the mic. Sorry, and thank you for telling me, Greg. Can't hear you. No sound, no volume. I can't hear you. Volume going out. No sound. Boy, this was a sound is back. Okay. If we work full time, what's your best guess on how much the average person will make per deal doing tax surplus Strikeforce? About 6 grand, because the average deal turned in right now is around 50, the average overage, and I figure it's going to be right at about 6 grand for the average deal payout, the commission on that. Pretty good. For the new tax sale Strikeforce, will you have to wait until the tax deed is recorded to submit a file? Only in North Carolina. But you have to be able to show us that you know that it actually foreclosed. There's other ways to do that with the court. There is still no sound. Hi, I lost sound. Did anyone else? No sound. Refresh the page. Sound is fine on my end. That's support. Sound is back. Refresh the feed on your device. There you go. I don't think anybody has sound right. You're talking away and no sound. You went mute, no sound. Okay, guys, refresh. Okay, I can hear him now. Thanks, Jeff. Hey, Sean, and updates on the Tavoya deal and panic. Oh my God, Brad. Every once in a while, we run into a deal that's crazy. All we're waiting on, Brad, on Tafoya is for her to call us back. We have called all of her relatives, and they're trying to get in touch with her because the court needs one more item, and that's gone on forever. That's a great question, and it tells you something that I know who that is because it's a difficult file. Working on it. Oh, hold on. The sound is back. Refresh the feed on your device. There we go. Just curious, do any people reach out to you directly to help them through Google search, or is every deal through cold outreach? Right. Do any people reach out to you directly? Oh, you mean call into us or go to our website, find us online and say, hey, can you help us? We've got surplus funds. Yeah, we get calls and that all the time. We don't work with them. We only work with deals that are turned in by you guys because, first of all, they're going to lie about whether or not there was debt against the property. They're just going to lie. That's general public these days. And secondly, we just don't feel comfortable going outside of you guys because you're turning in the files and you're working with us. That's a great question, Brian. I look forward to that new program. Me too. I'm looking forward to having you on board, Enrique. Sean, are you guys going to pay via direct deposit? I would prefer to send you an ACH credit. Yes. I'd rather do that than a check. I had check fraud twice in 1 year, about 2 years ago. Don't want to do that again. Would love to send it. No delay on the thing cashing. It's in there. Okay, sound is good. Anyone else having problems with sound or video? Refresh the page. Okay, people sign other contracts. Yeah, they absolutely do, Carmen. Refresh and only give sound for a few seconds. Okay, good question. National Surplus Funds Program, when I got it, was 8. That was 8% minimum on Strikeforce going to be 25 grand. I believe it is. Brian, with your guys who tested the program, how many deals did he submit and how much has he made with the program? I think we paid him out on 3 and he only submitted, I hate to even say that because you guys are going to assume that it's going to be that high a conversion rate. It wasn't a whole lot he turned in. Let's do that. I lost sound, back now, Ruby. As an affiliate, Do we have to worry about the states updating their surplus laws in accordance with the Supreme Court rulings? No, because when you're not an affiliate, you're a partner. When you send deals into us, we're the one doing the front line. You're not a direct party to it. Okay. It's kind of a big deal, and we're taking all of that. And our structured buyout system gets us around all that. Kimberly, are there any other investments that we will have to make besides the initial investment at 397 skip tracing or anything like that? No, Kimberly, it's a partnership only program. Um, you're creating your own list and researching debt and turning it in, and you're done. We do the rest. Sent in overage title chain research submissions before the holiday. Very exciting. Hey, that's great, Ruby. Dr. Brad, you need to refresh 2 to 3 times if you lose connection. Thank you, Doctor, for telling everybody that. Guys, shoot, we're over time. I am going to do this real quick. I know I'm going to drive Jeff crazy because he likes being very punctual, but questions that I got before this that I want to answer because I think a lot of you guys probably didn't hear my answers. Is this easier than panning? Yes, because it's easier to research the debt. There's going to be less debt against the property on tax surplus funds program, and there's less arbitrariness in what you're going to be looking at to create the list. There's 27 states. You're asking how many? 27 currently. Will we work heirs? Absolutely. Does it work in redemption states? Absolutely. If it's a post-sale redemption state for tax. When offered again, for how much? Anywhere from $497 to $997, probably in February. Don't know for sure right now. Create the list, research the debt, turn it in. You're done. Have we tested it? Yep. Tracking turn-ins. You'll know. You'll be able to see what files are in on our files being work list on the resources page that you have access to with the program. So before you research the debt, respond to one email address. So you can't be sending guys to us to train them. Okay. You're getting the information, you train them. All right. Support answers only one email. I'm not trying to be tough here, but this is how we keep it sane. Support will only answer questions from one email address. And when we go to pay, we can pay an entity or a person, but there's a place you'll fill out in the worksheet where you put a name in. Got to be your name on there. That way, if there's some conflict between you and somebody that you're working with, we're going to pay you and you guys figure it out. And that's the only difference. Now, we don't like VAs, virtual assistants. That's one of the reasons we cap it out at 100 per month, which, believe me, is going to be extremely hard for you to hit. But we're not set up to take big firms. We're set up to help people get started and bootstrap their way up. And that's what we like to do. How would you structure a buyout for a claim for $800,000? I would probably give them 80 grand as good faith, and I would give them the rest of 70% at the back end. And you're saying, oh my gosh, that's not you're only paying them 70% total. You're right. I am only paying them 70% total. But trust me, when attorneys look at $800,000, they don't charge just 5%. All right, Kimberly, a few counties may change the small fee for access. That's correct. Records. Great webinar. Thank you for your time. Happy New Year, Cheryl Williams, too. Awesome. Hey, guys, I appreciate everybody. Wow, a lot of people here today. I appreciate everybody coming out. Hope to see you on the other side. Hope to see you on board. January 1st, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Surplus Funds Riches.